listen to our CEO conversation. So we'll go ahead and get started. I think we're recording. Good morning, Tina. It's great to see you this morning.
Good morning, Susan. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, welcome everyone. Today is the second in our CEO conversation series. We're wanting to get out there and talk to our business owners about kind of where they've been and what's going on. We really want to take advantage of this kind of virtual environment while we can. We're able to schedule a quick meeting and get together. So I will tell you that Tina is a busy lady. That she runs a great shop right here in Franklin, now Reno, I think is where most of their operations are taking place. And we've sometimes had trouble finding time to get together. So this has been great to find that we can, take a half an hour here. And I'm glad that you all are here to listen in. So we're going to get to know a little bit more about Tina and what Lake Tool does. Tina is the president of Lake Tool Incorporated. So Tina, you've been doing business here in Venango County for about 19 years. And I
Yes.
suspect there are a lot of people that have no idea like what you're making down there at Lake Tool. What are you manufacturing? Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and what you make?
Yeah, basically, we get blueprints and we take whatever materials on the print, raw stock, machine it, and end up with a component to whatever our customer needs. We do a lot of work for obviously Joy Mining, Komatsu. We have a lot of automation companies. Robotics are really big. So we'll build a lot of the manufactured parts and they do purchase parts to make the robots. Um, we have just various customers, and industries we serve. Some of them are niche markets and like some of the bigger industries, sub industries. So, and basically we make these products, they go out, we do some work for, well, actually quite a bit of work for MOOC Space and Defense, so government contracting, subcontracting. So that's some of the things we do. We just kind of make make everything to print.
Make parts. When we see sophisticated vehicles and whether it's flying objects or anything else, we often wonder what are all the parts that go into it. You make those kind of parts.
We do.
Those kind of things.
And it's been, a change over the last year or so. We get a lot of um, medical or medicine dispensing robots and making parts for that, a lot of pipettes and pipette holders. Just as the industry has changed a little bit due to a lot of more automation.
Great. Well, you've, grown throughout the years. Can you talk to us a little bit about, the growth that's happened in your business and what has made that possible? Where were you 19 years ago in terms of, kind of size and scope of company and what has allowed you to grow into what you are today? Can you talk to us about that?
We were in our basement, not a very big basement at all. Um, just took a couple big risks, expanded the size of our operations, the buildings. We moved to Ficta, moved around there a few times, and then bought this at the end of this building in Reno at the end of 2017. So just having a larger facility and then buying more machines, just reinvesting. It's just a good location to do it at. The community's been very helpful, the lending institutions locally, just expanding our capabilities and our facility size has
How
been
about the
huge.
size of like when you started, how many of there were how many of you were involved in the company and where are you now?
Okay, we started with Guy primarily as a sub-C before we turned into S Corp. Then we hired our first employee and we were still in the basement. I was still working. And when we moved to Ficta, we had a few on. And over the years, we're about 15, but we need to be at 20 at least.
Yeah. So you're trying to hire like everyone else.
Yeah, we've had ads in Indeed that sign out front has had it on there, now hiring machinists. So, and it's hard too because you don't want to take from your local competition. And by competition, we're all friends.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's just, we'd like to have 20, 25. We'd actually like to have a night shift.
Yeah, I've often wondered if when we talk about adding new businesses, particularly manufacturing, we'll continue to kind of talk about the myths around manufacturing. But if one of the struggles of attracting new businesses is having enough workers, and would, you know, concentrating on those of you who actually have positions open and growing you is a strategy that I bet you would support.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Where we're falling behind on employees, we do have some subcontractors out there that we trust and value. It's hard for them because they have to just take overflow work when we have it, but it's a nice backup.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear the collaboration that you talk about, the businesses working together. I think as chambers, that's what we want to see. So to the extent that we can help facilitate that, we want to. I know, you know, you and I, even in our brief conversation last week, we talked about some introductions. So it's great to hear that that's something that you're doing all the time. Now, you mentioned Guy. Guy is your husband. So you are a family-owned business like the Claypeck Trucking crew that we talked about, talked to last month. How has that worked for you? I think your son is in the business too. I don't know if you have other family members, but has it worked to your advantage to be a kind of family-owned family business, or what are the
It
hazards?
definitely has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
um, Guy is, he's my husband. He was a machinist. Then Lance was a machinist before they moved to the offices. When Lance was machining, he was a fifth generation machinist. So
Wow.
it's been in the family a long time. The pros are definitely there. My daughter, when she comes home, or sometimes I send her stuff to do out in Seattle, or she comes home. Last summer, she came home for 2 months to help out. So she tries to stay involved with it, and she's been very involved at different times when she's been able to. The loyalty, there's always loyalty, and we'll do whatever it takes to keep it going in the right direction. So,
Now, I didn't prepare you for this question, but I'm kind of curious. So, you know, we certainly, when we think about the old manufacturing environment, the Pennzoils, the oil wells, there were often multiple generations working in those companies. Do you have other families working for you that have more than one person from the family, or, you know,
we
two
have at
generations?
times, um, it's not really so much. We try to avoid that unless, it's, positive for everybody involved.
Yeah, I'm sure in a small shop it can be more challenging because it's hard to, you know, if you've got a, you know, father and daughter both working, do you put, you know, giving them segregation of duties? But it's an interesting thought that I think we all remember when children wanted to go work for the same employer as their parents did because they had a real pride in that business. So I hope we'll see a day when you've grown to the point where there's lots of opportunity for that. And
Yeah, my granddaughter jokes that when she gets the business, I don't know, this is her plan, I guess. I'm just gonna sell it. I don't want to be 55 and running a company. I'm like, thank you, thank you.
there you go.
So we'll see. It is nice to have your family involved because and we just, all look out for each other. But the rest of Lake School feels like a family.
Oh,
I
that's
mean, our
great.
first employee in the basement is still with us. And our
Wonderful.
second employee is still with us. We have people who, quite a few of them say they're going to retire here. So it's kind of nice to know.
That's
So we've
something to
got a
really,
very, very good team. So we have the Lakes, but we also have the Lake Tool family.
something to be really proud of as a business. Congratulations on, you know, really developing those kind of relationships. That's great. Well, 19 years is a long time, and we've talked about that growth, but I'm guessing that across 19 years, there have been challenges. There are things that are hard about owning your own business. And certainly as a country, and as a world, we've been through ups and downs. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you've faced and how you've overcome those?
Well, one day I was walking through the shop and I see this material. It's called Peak and it's very expensive. It has great thermal properties and tensile strength. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, why is the customer, and it was Aspects, and uh, they made scanning electronic microscopes for different industries. And I'm like, why aren't they giving us orders? So I went home. I'm like, it's nothing we did. I've chased this company around the world. They were down in near Pittsburgh, then they were over in the Netherlands, and then the Czech Republic, and then they disappeared. And I'm, where are they? So I look them up, and they were bought now. So by Thermo Fisher. So and which is so huge, you couldn't even track that down. Um, so no matter what you do right, something like that can help happen. How you get over it, you just get more customers. And we are lucky because anytime an engineer moves to another company, if they have the power to use us as a vendor, they always contact us. They're our best salespeople.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, yeah, just really scanning the environment all the time sounds like something really important. Another kind of throw you in question, I just have to ask, I'm always so impressed, especially, I shouldn't probably feel this way, but with women who can really talk about manufacturing the way you do. Is that something you grew up with or went to school for or knew or learned from the business?
Okay, so we started the business, I was in my 30s, going to even like 30s. So no, I mean, I was around Guy, of course,
Mhm.
and his dad. But I ended up, when we started the business, going to Votech over in Meadville to learn machining and mathematics for machining,
Wow.
just so I knew what was going on. Our first employee, Donnie, and Guy were too busy to show me. And we just moved into FICTA. So on weekends, I'd go to train.
So when we're struggling with workforce issues right now, there's absolutely no reason that a woman of any age can't step in and learn manufacturing. Is
Oh,
that
I
true?
mean, it's definitely true. And I think it's exciting. It's taken me a while. When we first started out, engineers wouldn't even want to talk to me, not because they just, even about did something ship. I'm like, yeah. But over the years, the one automation company, and I really feel proud about this. The head engineer always says, I know what they want more than they do. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
been a learning curve though.
that's
But
great. Well,
any woman, man can do it.
yeah,
So
I mean, I'm certainly happy to know that we continue to have jobs for men, but I think, we need to remind women that they can do this, and men to not assume that their daughters can't have a really, really good career in engineering, manufacturing, machining. They're good, respectable, and clean environments to work in these days.
oh, definitely, definitely. I've noticed one trend over the last couple of decades. When we first started doing this, there weren't a lot of female engineers, and now I see us working more and more with them. There's just a lot more, which is nice.
Yeah, we're lucky enough here at the chamber to know some young women who are engineers locally, and have personal friends who are. So again, that's a great career, but machining and manufacturing, we definitely would encourage people to think about. And this is a time when a lot of people are going to kind of be reinventing what they're doing. So a good way to head. Is that something that if I know you're hiring and probably love to have people that walk in ready to go, but if someone says, well, I had never thought about it, but I might be interested, do you want to hear from people who are
Yeah,
considering?
I
Is that
mean,
something that you could direct them a little bit on what to do to get ready to apply for a job?
well, there's definitely, any self-training. A lot of people kind of steer clear of that now, but just for example, we're getting a new EDM in here on Thursday. And so it's kind of new to
So what
us.
is an EDM?
Electrical discharge machine. So you're cutting the material with sparks. So it doesn't actually touch the material. So there's some great advantages with that. So we were like, we can't find anybody to hire to do it. We could promote from, in-house, and which is what we're doing. We're actually doing twofold. We have an older gentleman that works here who's very good at Mastercam, which is, good first step. And we have our inspector who's young, and we just trained him how to inspect, but he's been picking up and he's using the Faro technology. And so we're going to kind of blend the two of them. So the older one can kind of teach the younger one, and the younger one can change the parts while he's inspecting. He's just, hopefully it works. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great that you're willing to take chances and shift people around. So it's not a dead end job either. We hear that a lot. We hear, I don't know if I want to take a job that doesn't give me any opportunity for growth and learning. I don't want to do the same thing for the next, 30 years. So I'm guessing in your industry, it's not even just likely that you're going to make changes. Like you're learning new things all the time to react to what's going on.
Every time a new machine comes in, and it's like the readout is not the same or the machine's different, it's just its own. It might be similar, but there's a lot to learn. Like the big horizontal boring mill was a challenge for the machinist. He was a machinist. He, you know, programmer, but it's still a challenge because it was so much bigger. The water jet, that's a whole new machine there that we got. It cuts with water.
Yeah.
So different than the EDM that cuts with sparks. So
I'm imagining some wonderful photo opportunities in your shop with that water shooting around and those sparks. So
yeah.
I hope that when there's a time when you feel that it'll be saved, I'd love to come and take a tour of your shop.
Oh, you anytime, you're always welcome.
It sounds really interesting and exciting to know that that's going on for me, just like 2 miles away. So that's
Anytime. I'm here pretty much every day.
cool. Well, what's some of the most satisfying things about working in your business, and especially being right here in Venango County? What have you found good about that?
Well, in Venango County, first of all, it's beautiful. And anybody who comes from another county or another state just loves it. We had a gentleman up here not even 2 months ago, because there was an emergency situation where, and so they needed help. He came up and he just loved it. We took him to Trails to Ales and he thought how beautiful it was. So people like coming here. The benefit of a small county, when I said earlier, like local lenders, they took a chance on us when we were very young. And just, I don't know something, I can call up somebody. Like the friendly competition, if somebody needs a $200 tap, they don't want to buy it for that one job, they'll call us up, we'll loan it, vice versa. We need material and we can't source it, and another company has it. And so we all work together. It's just such a nice feeling. And hiring people, the first employee grew up in our neighborhood.
Wow.
So we've known him since he's been 12. So
yeah, that small network that we can reach out to. Certainly the world seems to be getting smaller, not bigger. We find out that people across the other end of the country we know, but in a small community like ours, we really have relationship. Do you have a lot of visitors? Do you have vendors and customers that come to your shop very often, or not so much?
Not really. It's it's hard when you deal with an engineer, say 8 years, and then they go somewhere else and then you don't hear from them again. You're like, you wish you would have met them. But at the same time, manufacturing is kind of less like social, or or in person, I should say, not so much social, but
yeah.
So, but once in a while, it's usually an emergency, like, oh, we're gonna get in trouble with our customer, can you help us? Or we've been to several of our customers, like Moog Space and Defense. We did get a chance to tour the facility down in Blacksburg, so that was pretty cool.
So you're more likely to maybe make a trip to visit a customer than necessarily someone to come to you. Okay. Let's before we wrap up here, let's talk a little bit about technology and this last year and what that's first technology. So in 19 years, gee whiz, a lot has changed. How has technology impacted your business and trying to keep up with it?
For example, Moog Space and Defense, when we first started, they would send these huge FedEx packages with huge blueprints, the kind that were used on plotters. Of course, that doesn't happen now. Actually, now I have to get a code on my phone to access the site because of all the security, because they are space and defense. But 20 years ago, there wasn't hardly any security. So, um, so that's happened. It's kind of nice with just the internet becoming stronger and better because before when it was the dial up to get
I
any bigger files would take forever. So the technology has helped, just the hiring process with all the online, employment agencies or whatever.
yeah,
So like Indeed and ZipRecruiter. So that's been helpful. So technology has changed a lot. The CamCAD software has gotten so much better and more user friendly. Back in the day, it was so difficult.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm old enough to remember when technology was. It still is a challenge at days for me, but when it was really a challenge, dial up, I can hear it now. Um, yeah, but it's improved things.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Just our files are computer assisted manufacturing. That's CAM. Files are just so much better. The software has been better. Receiving it through the internet is better. Sometimes we have these huge packages. Now we do a lot of like we transfer.
Mhm.
And so if they're so huge, they're not even coming through emails anymore. We have
Right.
links, whether it's log me in or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, but those kind of things we really have gotten through. So now with the pandemic, a lot of us, turned even more to technology. Uh, have you done that a lot? Has that required much, or in manufacturing, is it not so much? Pretty much, just everything like.
Yeah, well, we were already doing this before the pandemic, but all the employees have tablets.
Mhm.
And some of them still have the stationary or the old tablet carry around and the stationary, which helped with some communication for distance. But everything else was pretty much the same. Luckily enough, this is 44,000 square feet, not including the outbuildings. So when the pandemic hit, we just kind of had our own huge spaces. So,
Yeah.
but using the tablets was really nice to communicate things. And we do that. We started it before the pandemic, but the pandemic, so if there's any updates on, I don't know, FMLA or something like that, we just put it on the notices on their tablets instead of, talking them too much or, we
Yeah,
keep,
you were able to react quickly
we
because
were.
of what you had in place already. Well, great. Well, we're coming in on the end of the half an hour, and I want to give you a chance. Is there anything that you might like to share with us that we haven't talked about? What do you wish people knew about Lake Tool that you suspect that they don't? Like, what surprises people the most when they meet you and you tell them what you do?
Well, the machinist, a lot of people think that it's more of assembly line, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would love to get more production in here. But what we have right now, these guys are smart. You have to understand trig, calculus, thermodynamics.
Very.
You got to know how you're going to approach. You got a blueprint. How you approach it can be whether it's profitable or not. So they're very smart. They stand on their feet all day. They're just a good group of guys and very intelligent. And we make a lot of one-off stuff, customized robots maybe only need this one thing and it'll never be built again. So most of our stuff is that. So they're just so smart. I always say this is so intelligent and a little gritty.
Yeah. Well, we talk with students a lot and teachers who are saying, what do businesses need? And I will stand on that. We certainly need people to show up for work, have great attitudes, but problem solving has got to be like the number one. When you can teach your kids, whether it's at school or at home, to be problem solvers, it sounds like you do a lot of problem solving.
Yes, Guy always says you can find all the problems you want, but there's always a solution.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're really proud to have you here in Venango County and doing what you're doing. And we hope that we'll see tremendous growth in your company, be it profits or hiring or just continuing with the technology. I would encourage everyone to visit laketoolinc.com. Their website is great. It'll give you a really good idea of some of the products that they make. We talked about screen sharing or holding some things up, but I think they've done a great job of giving you an idea out on the website.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Susan. I appreciate it. And swing by, any of you, just give me a call. We're here.
Great. That's so wonderful. I think I shared with you that we have a leadership class. We often go out and do tours of some of our companies. So we're going to put you on the agenda for places that we want to stop and see and talk to.
That'd be great.
Really appreciate. Again, everybody, want to share this recording. We'll have this out on our website. So when you're telling people about great business that's going on in Venango County, tell them you ought to hear what Tina and her family are doing down at Lake Tool in Reno. So really appreciate it. We have not ready to announce next month's CEO conversation yet, but we'll hopefully have that in our newsletter. So if you have somebody that you'd like to have us interview and talk to, give me a call, a text, an email, let me know who we should talk to next. So have a great day. It's a beautiful day. We call this a chamber kind of day. So hey, I did see a message here. We've got Phil Latshaw, a new business solutions consultant for CareerLink here in Venango County, was watching. So he just wanted to say hello, and thank you, Phil, for joining us. Thank you, all of the others that joined us today. Tell others to join us next month. So thanks so much. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.